We view the G20 very positively because, earlier incarnation was the G8 plus G5, where the 5 emerging economies, China, India, South Africa, Brazil, Mexico were represented. But we were basically guests at the time that the G8 summit would take place. So we did not really have any meaningful participation in those deliberations. I think the good thing about the G20 is that all the 20 members have equal status. And we are participating very actively in the new sort of governance structures which are being put together on the international economic system as well as the financial system. So there is a much more sense of participation in global governance than has been the case before. So from our point of view, this has been a very positive development. And while currently the focus is very much on economic issues, but I think once we have more or less concluded our current deliberations, I have no doubt that we will move on to other important global issues as well. Well, the G20 is itself an innovation. And what the G20 is doing is that, number one, it is strengthening some of the existing institutions. For example, the IMF, the World Bank, international financial institutions basically. And it is also looking at the possibility of creating new mechanisms. So some of the old mechanisms have been, in a sense, adjusted to the new situation. So you have the now the Financial Stability Board, which has all the G20 members represented in it. Or you have Basel III, which again today has all the G20 members represented. So then in a sense, these are old institutions, but they have been given a completely different kind of membership, a very different kind of role. And I have no doubt that as we take our deliberations forward, if there is a requirement for setting up new institutions, yes, certainly there would be the possibility of setting up those new institutions. But I think we are still in early days yet. And I think much of the focus is in seeing what kind of changes can be made in the international institutions that we already have in order to make them much more effective. And that process is continuing. Well, the media assessment in India has been that, yes, as I said, it's a very positive development for the simple reason that there has always been this sense that, there is a kind of a two-track governance structure. I mean, you have the old advanced industrialized countries who basically are the governance structure, and the newly emerging economies are basically also ran category. So from that point of view, there was always a sense that the G8 plus G5 structure did not quite recognize the emerging status of the countries like India or China, whose macroeconomic salience has increased. Their impact on the global economy has increased, and this has not been adequately recognized. So the G20, in fact, answers that issue. So generally speaking, in India, there has been a positive reaction. But I think whether that positive reaction remains will very much depend upon how much credibility this organization is able to command, how effective it is in terms of the issues that we are dealing with. Only then, there will be a sense that, yes, this is an institution which is worth supporting. This is an institution which is relevant to the kind of challenges that ordinary people in the country face. That is going to be the touchstone.